I'm doing this video today in a different part of the flat, mainly because of the very topic of this video. I have been sat there all day working from home. Now, the term working from home, that used to really sound quite blissful until the pandemic hit and then everybody had to work from home. Now, there's been a lot of research and a lot of media hype around kind of tiredness and lethargy when working from home. I'm keeping some notes as I go along over these weeks, months, hopefully not years, going through COVID, to just see what the differences are between my mental health, well-being, and the actual output that I can have from the team, be that working with them directly on site versus working from the infamous breakfast bar remotely. One of the reasons that we are becoming so tired working from home is because what used to be known as working from home, where you would escape the busyness of the office and stay at home to, get some focus and get some zen energy built up around you to be able to focus on, writing a report or focusing a little bit of that detail and the strategy perhaps. The difference that we've got now is that when we're working from home, we are incredibly, even more so than we were before, contactable. We've got things like our mobiles, which obviously we carry with us everywhere. We have now Zoom, Skype, Teams, and a multitude of other platforms, I'm sure, that I'm yet to be introduced to. But we also have instant messaging and email. So there are many platforms where we are contactable at the press of a button. And I certainly become overwhelmed with the amount of contact that suddenly I have with my team members at any one moment of the day. Now, I'm very fortunate that I love my job and I have a great team, both under me and above me. But I can only imagine what that's like for people that maybe are having difficulties at work or are struggling with the workload. To be honest, I have struggled over the last couple of weeks. I've got better, but I really have found it quite difficult working at such a fast pace with real lack of detail and vision and direction of what we're actually meant to be doing with some of my work streams that I'm responsible for. And that's led to me feeling like a failure and really struggling at work to maintain that morale and the energy that I naturally try to anyway, every day that I'm at work with my team. I'm finding that while working from home is safe for me and safe for others, it's almost busier and more draining than actually going to work. I never thought I would think that, feel it, or even say it. However, luckily, I know I'm not alone, and most of you watching this will probably be feeling the same. And I hope this isn't rubbing it in anybody's faces that isn't working right now, because equally that's incredibly tough and a whole other ballgame. So let's talk about Zoom, or Skype, or Teams, whichever platform you're using, because it's weird. Our homes, my home, this is my sanctuary. This is where I come away from work. This is where I close that door behind me at the end of the day and I can instantly try to switch off. However, recently, I've put it away now because I'm that good now at trying to clear away my space. My laptop is in my home and therefore my work is in my personal space. Those of you that know me know that I sometimes might do some work from home, maybe on the weekend or in the evening, but that's because I love my job. Now, I could easily work, from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, and that's really not helpful or healthy. So I really try to make sure that I keep my personal space after the work hours, whether that's, switching off at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever it is. Once I've stopped for the day, I clear away my workspace, and this is back to my kitchen. This is my breakfast bar where in the morning I will be able to get out of bed, get my coffee on and start the day and not get out of bed and walk straight into my office. That would be really weird. So one of the tips that I'd like to share with you, and many people are talking about it, so it's not a secret, but it's certainly something that I have taken seriously, is respect your working from home area. At the beginning of the day, at the beginning of your shift, create the workspace that you will be working in during the day. And then when you finish work, tidy it away. You don't want to be sitting on the sofa watching TV, trying to relax, and then glance over and you see your laptop, and then you suddenly think about a to-do list, and you think about that email, and then suddenly you're really tempted to just log in and just do that one thing. But then there's another email there and you're like, ooh, what's that? And then before you know it, you've been absorbed back into that task-to-task work life. Now, another interesting thing about Zoom is that, and actually it was my manager that told me this the other day, was that imagine yourself sitting in a meeting around a boardroom table, perhaps in a nice luxurious setting, and you've maybe just come from another meeting that's been probably quite high profile or quite stressful. Maybe you were chairing it, and you're in this meeting next, and it's a time where you can perhaps just sit, relax a little bit, talk to your colleagues, listen to what's going on in the meeting, maybe take some notes, but not really worry that much about your input. With Zoom or Skype or Teams or ... suddenly you cough, you sneeze, you move your mug, you pick your mug up or you put it down. Suddenly you have that little box around your face, and it's telling you that people are looking at you and people are watching you right now. I had this today. I'd had a couple of probably 2 or 3 meetings back to back, and it was in the last meeting, and I'd made myself a cup of tea on the sly, and it was on Teams, and I put my cup down, and all of a sudden I could see everybody's kind of eyes move, and I was like, oh yeah, that's because my screen and my face is now up on everybody's screen. And I got really self-conscious. So it's really weird that on these platforms for meetings, virtual meetings, it almost puts the spotlight on you. You know, you've got all of these faces staring at you, and you just know, that maybe 15, 20, well, let's face it, probably 100% of the people in there are judging the space behind you in that picture. They are judging your choice of curtains and colour of paint on the walls, and you're trying to find the right lighting to make sure that you don't look really tired, and that you're engaged and you're smiley and you're happy. You're paying so much attention to the minutiae of detail that usually really goes without a second thought when you're sat in that boardroom, in that luxurious setting, after that really high-case profile meeting that you've been in, where you're just able to relax. Suddenly, you're all on the same playing field. You cannot, maybe you can, in my case, you can't kind of just go sneakily in the background. You're there with everybody on the screen, and you're equal to everybody. So even if the meeting is not being chaired by you, or you're not on the agenda or anything like that, you're there. You're there as a little icon on the screen, and it's enough to put you off kilter. You will be making sure that you are in the frame properly and that you're smiling and the light's good, and or maybe if I do that then the bags won't be really highlighted. And before you know it, you're paying so much more attention to the little things that when you're in that meeting boardroom, you don't really pay much attention to. So that's why I think, and I know based on the research that's come out through COVID, helpfully, is that working from home is more tiring than it is being in work, because when you can actually sit down for a meeting or a catch up with your colleagues, it's so much less penetrative into your personal life. Also, with the lack of face-to-face, even through kind of that virtual platform, you're really paying attention to body language and to the non-verbals. So when you're face-to-face with somebody, you will naturally be able to feed off their vibe, so kind of the non-verbal stuff. In a Zoom meeting, you don't get the same opportunity. So you don't always get to see the hands behind the screen. You don't always get to hear the tone of voice properly because it will break up, or it won't pick up because you'll talk quietly, and then people are like, what did you say? And you've lost that kind of comedy aspect that you were trying to bring, or that sensitive part to that sentence that you were trying to say. You can't probably see it, but it's currently belting down out there, and I love the rain. So I have mentioned it in previous videos where, that kind of natural pause within a conversation is really important. It's incredibly natural, but when you get that pause in a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting, your mind instantly goes to technology. Is it working? Have they paused? And before you know it, you've lost your natural rhythm to the conversation that you were having. So that's again another reason why we end up getting so exhausted at the end of the day that's full of Zooms, because your attention level is almost ramped up. There was quite important meeting that I was at yesterday, Tuesday, can't remember, and some of the conversations that we were having were incredibly sensitive about big things kind of going on in the trust. Now, usually in that kind of meeting room setting where those are usually held, we can have very natural flowing conversations about the situations that are at hand, and we can have that natural pause to emphasize the point that we're trying to make. Now, on the Zoom meeting, as soon as there was a pause, the chair would be like, oh, I think you froze it, oh no, sorry. And then because they've spoken, it cuts the other person out. And it just got really messy. It's just bizarre. But that again is why we're probably so tired at the end of the day when we have been in these meetings, because it's just not like real life. Another thing that I'm personally really struggling with right now is going out for a walk after work. So when I've been here, having the luxury to be able to work from home, I sit here, I do all my emails, I finish, I pack away, and I go and sit on that sofa. And I look out the window and I'm like, I should go for a walk. I should walk off this pent-up energy that I've got built up from the day. But then I go, maybe I'll just have a peanut butter sandwich instead and watch some Netflix. And before I know it, I've eaten more calories, not burnt enough calories off through the day where I've naturally kind of gone from office to office or ward to ward. And then I start feeling guilty. And then that guilt starts to eat away at me. And then I start to punish myself and feel quite bad about myself. And all of this is because I've been sat here all day. So one thing that I'm really trying to do is to either go out for a walk in the morning before work or afterwards when I finish work. I went out today, but as you can see, like I said, well, you can't see, but it's chucking it down out there. So I made it for maybe half an hour, but that was enough for me to be able to mentally tell myself that I finished work, I'm gonna get home, have a shower, and relax for the evening. I think that's really important, and I really think that when we are on-site working or you're in your offices or going to work, you have that commute. So you leave your house, you're in that zone of, I'm on my way to work. So you start to prepare yourself for the day ahead. And then the reverse, on the way home, you think, I've finished work, I'm going home. Be that to a loved one or your friends or family or me, nothing. But I can at least begin to wind down. When you're working from home, you don't have that opportunity, so it's really important that you build it into your day. And then the other kind of last weird thing that I've kind of put into this is corridor conversations. And this is something that my boss has been talking about recently, and it really rings true. So I look after 6 teams, and I usually have really good quick catch-ups in the corridor where you can just talk about how the day's gone for each other, and often it's that conversation where that person will be like, oh, while I've got you, this email come through, that's happened, I'm on it, don't worry about it, or something will be ticked off a list that you've kind of inevitably added to the end of your to-do list for the day. Whereas when you don't get that opportunity, it's an email. Or it's a phone call, or it's a Zoom, or it's a quick instant chat. And although that's a really easy, happy medium to have that quick catch up with somebody, it's not the same as a verbal conversation. You lift each other's spirits when you can give each other that support and almost feed off each other's energy. If you're working from home, you don't get that opportunity, and I for one know that I'm really struggling at the moment trying to catch up with all of my team members to make sure that I know what's going on and that they know the next step of what needs to happen for them. So that's something that personally I'm just struggling with at the moment, but I'm sure I will get over that eventually. Over the last couple of weeks I've been feeling a lot better, but I have been really struggling. I put that down to COVID, world shut down. I put it down to difference in lifestyle, not having the freedom to go off and do stuff. But I do also put it down to the fact that suddenly I am working from home more often, and it is something that before COVID I was like, please let me have a day from home so I can catch up on stuff. Now I'm like, get me into the office so I can have a break. It's really bizarre, and it's such a change of mentality, and that's tiring. But it's important to clock where the issues are so you can help start to put things back on the right track. So if you're working from home, I'd like to hear what you are struggling with, or what you find helps with any of the things that I've mentioned, or if there's anything particular that you find enjoyable to do through the day to switch off, relax, and help either get into the work mode or get out of it. And just before I go, I'm going to mention that this beautiful mop of hair is finally going to be cut off on Monday. So today is Thursday and it's going to go. I'm so excited. I mean, I don't like my receding hairline anyway, but these curls are really starting to just exaggerate that line like crazy. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.